Hello, I'm Michelle.
And I'm Laura, and this is the Parentrepreneurs Club podcast, a fortnightly show to help you navigate the demands of being both a parent and a business owner. We will share lots of practical ideas, hints and tips, and our own and others' experiences of juggling work, family, health and finances. Above all, we want to help you find your purpose, define your identity, and banish any confidence gremlins that might be holding you back from the life you dream of. No matter whether you have children or not, there will be something here for you. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome to what is the first episode of the Parentrepreneurs Club podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Laura.
And in today's episode, we're just going to spend the next 30 minutes giving you an insight as to why we set up the club and just to let you know a little bit about each of us. So over to you then, Laura. Do you want to just give us a bit of an insight into where you ended up becoming your own business owner?
Yeah, of course. So for me, really, it's been a long process that I've wanted to do for many years. I always had a vision that I wanted to work for myself. But it's just been a number of years before I actually had the confidence to do it and the right mindset to do it, I think. So I started the kind of side hustle of having a full paid role and having the security of a job, but then having something that I wanted to do on the side. So started off doing some HR consultancy, and then that's kind of grown, done bits with property development, and that gave me the flexibility and the income to be able to start my own business and take that forward. Mm-hmm. I know for you it's a similar kind of adventure. So
absolutely, yeah, kind of one of these things as well. Had on an aspiration to do. I think when I was at uni, wanted to become a consultant, and kind of had that experience, need to tick box under my belt. And yeah, unfortunately, found myself losing my corporate job back in 2019, and that was an opportunity for me to kind of put my pants on and do it. So I'm not looked back. Really enjoyed it.
I think that's exactly it, and I think sometimes it does take that push to force you in that right direction. And for me, I was working in a job that was very fixed before COVID. I got furloughed and then started my own Facebook group, and that was really the push that said, oh, actually I'm getting a bit of traction here and I can do this. So what seems like a negative thing at the time is often the push that we need to drive us forward, I think.
Absolutely. And I think if COVID's done anything, that's exactly it, hasn't it? It's we've seen so many people set up on their own and so many success stories, and it's really enabled people to diversify. But I think for myself as well, it's made people reevaluate what they actually want, and people seeking that flexibility more than we've ever done. So many people were furloughed and went back to corporate jobs. And for some, they've not been able to get that hybrid working that they were so used to during the pandemic. And so it's kind of that question now of what do I do? Do I stick or twist? Yeah. And I think this is the time, isn't it, to really decide, we're in a kind of tricky situation with the economy, but ultimately, as I learn, watch work in a corporate environment, as much as you like to think you've got comfort and security, sometimes that decision can be taken away from you. And when you're in the driving seat, you control it. You hunt and gather, where the work's come in. And yes, it can be stressful, and 100%, you do have sleepless nights, but that you've got full visibility of whether that business is succeeding or failing, which I think is certainly something that I'd probably not really considered until I set up on my own.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I think, we've talked about this a lot, and this is kind of the main driver for why we set up the Parentrepreneurs Club. Because, I've got a 6-year-old, you've got 2 children now, and it's a real struggle because you don't have that flexibility. So when I was working in corporate roles, it was very much a 9 to 5. You have to be in the office, during those times, particularly if you're managing teams, you have to be visible. And it was extremely stressful because I would have to rush across town, peak traffic to get to my nursery, often finding that, I was a bit late. You get charged by the minute for the extra time that they're there. And the guilt that comes with that as well, because I would have parents, that say to me, oh, well, your son's in for a long time. It's a long day for them. You sure that's the right thing for them? you know, and I think we just carry so much guilt, we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah, I think I've said the mum guilt things way too many times over the last nine months since having my second. Yeah, I mean, I've had a real good example of that this week. We've had the sickness bug. Unfortunately, my eldest started school a few weeks ago, and so we've been inundated. And unfortunately, this week we had the sickness bug. And I said to my husband, I just don't think if I was in a corporate role, we'd have been able to manage it. Luckily, I've just got that flexibility in my diary. I always give a bit of contingency for some admin days and some project days. Yeah, and I was able to move a few things around. I don't feel I had any issues with my clients. I set my working parameters, got really good, strong relationships. And it just allowed me to do the mum thing, do what I needed to do, also be all myself, which sometimes we don't always do in a corporate job. And get that comfort and kind of assurance that, the next day I could pick it all up. I could work in the evening. I can, I've got that complete autonomy to do it when I need to do the hours to get the job done for my clients. So yeah, it just works so incredibly well. And different people go in different avenues, don't they? For me, it's still along the theme of what we're both in similar situations, like along the theme of what we've qualified in. But other people do it more as hobby businesses, which again is something I'm completely in admiration of. Whilst I love what I do, I'd love to be doing something that's a hobby. So I think that we've seen a lot of that with COVID as well, haven't we?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, like we've said, COVID has really made people think about what it is that they want to do and what are their values and what's important to them, and it's different for everyone at different aspects of their life. But, as I said, for me, it's really empowering, as you said, to be able to have your own boss and your own choice in things, which you just cannot get in the corporate world. I mean, I actually put a post on LinkedIn the other day saying about how I'd been able to play tennis and, attend my son's coffee afternoon at school, which is you just have no chance of doing that in a corporate job. No. But, I managed my clients, I did work in the evening, no one's none the wiser. So it just gives you that time back.
Do you wish you'd done it sooner?
Yeah, I do in a way. Because I think, it's the confidence, it's having the confidence. The biggest thing for me was actually putting myself out there, creating my first LinkedIn post to say, I'm doing this business, it's on my own. Because you have this, there's a little bit of an imposter syndrome, which I think a lot of people can relate to, and the fear of failure. But once you get over that, it all gets quite a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely great. And I think that's been a big thing we've talked about from this club, isn't it? Just trying to support people in that confidence. I know we've both done the NLP practitioner piece, so it's something that we want to share with members of the cohort and the club, isn't it? I think that is exactly it. I mean, I had no doubt that I would never have done it if the business hadn't gone into administration. And I like to think I'm a fairly confident person, but it is that inner belief and that self-esteem. And nobody wants to set something up and feel that they've failed. And I think it is that sort of peer perception, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's definitely something from the club that we've spoken over the last few weeks, isn't it? We've been setting things up that we really want to make sure we push forward for our members.
Absolutely. And I think, we talk about NLP so much, but, the kind of the strategies within that and the things that we've done, individually and the things we've talked about, has such a big impact on our lives. And I know when I said to you about the coaching course that I'd done, it's revolutionary, really, to change that mindset and to give you the confidence to go forward. And it really does work. And I think that's what, we've both said we're really passionate about, is the people that are stuck in that position feeling that they can't do it or they haven't got the skills to do it. It's showing them that they have.
That's it. And I think if you ask anybody listening today, how happy are you in your current job on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd imagine there's quite a few people sitting there at the moment saying I'm kind of that midpoint, but I don't want to go because I want job security and I don't know what the future's going to hold. We know what the energy crisis looks like. But as I would say, I found myself 3 years ago in exactly that situation, thinking that it's nice and comfy. I've got good development. Someone's paying my salary, my holidays, but actually it was just taken away overnight. So it doesn't, necessarily give you that comfort to do it. It's just finding that inner confidence to believe that you can do it. And you've actually got nothing to lose. I don't know about your situation, Laura. You know, I didn't have much financial backing behind me when I set up. I literally just ended up with my redundancy pay. It paid for a nice laptop, desktop. It's not a company that I needed significant collateral for, so to speak, but you know, I probably could afford for a couple of months' salary from that enabled me to feel that, you know, the mortgage was paid. We were getting married in the January, so it all happened in the October. So big expenditure going on in that month. But I just it drove me actually to do it. And I think anybody who makes that decision, you probably just got that inner drive to do it anyway, because you've got commitments to bills or whatever position you find yourself in. You either want the income or you just want to prove it to yourself, don't you, that you can do it. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I can certainly relate to the fact that for years I've found excuses. You know, so you just kind of go with what's safe.
absolutely.
And yeah, you know, I know it's not easy by any stretch. You know, we've had ups and downs. Sometimes we'll talk and say it's just been a horrendous day today. And that is the nature of being a pair entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, it comes with the territory, but it's about surrounding yourself with like-minded people as well, you know, and having that support network and building that yourself, because it can be a really lonely place otherwise.
Yeah. Completely agree. And I think that's where we've found each other, haven't we? In that sense, we've known each other for a couple of years and we've had this conversation just for the fact that we've ended up bouncing off each other, haven't we? Around, you know, that isolation of running our own business and, like you say, being a parent. And that's what we've kind of said, haven't we? The club is there for like-minded people who are seeking that career happiness. You know, everybody in the same situation can drive each other on, give each other that confidence. And I suppose as well, it creates a community for network, for natural business development. You know, that's been the hardest thing I found. You know, no one quite prepared me when you set up on your own for all the stuff that in the corporate world you forget. You know, you walk down the corridor, you've got an IT department, you've got somebody who does business development, someone who does comms. How many times over the last few weeks have we talked about Canva and graphic design and marketing?
Yeah.
We've had to learn it ourselves, haven't we? And we've kind of self-taught, or we've had, you know, you have to make investment in that with this appropriate specialists. And actually, for us bringing a community together, and hopefully people have various businesses that they want to set up, you know, from hobby businesses they've got passions for, to more corporate consultative services. You name it. I think it would be great to have a real cross selection in this club.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've talked about how this develops and, you know, we want to get some guest speakers involved and we really want to, you know, for anyone out there listening, we want to have some ideas of what people want, you know, so that we can focus on that, because it is really daunting because, you know, as we've said, it's you set up your business because, you know, in my case, I'm a HR consultant, you know, I know pretty much everything I need to know about HR, but the Canva, the accountancy, you know, how to manage budgets, everything else is, you know, networking. It's a huge learning curve.
Absolutely.
You know, and yeah, so if people have got ideas, then yeah, we'd love to hear them, wouldn't we?
Yeah, really would. Yeah, absolutely. And we've got some guest speakers lined up for future podcasts, haven't we? That we're gonna kind of share. And I think as a starting point, it's getting people on our Facebook page, seeing what we're about. You know, there's a link you can see at the top. We've got the name up there, so have a look. There'll be more information released on there, so you can have a good look about, learn a bit more about each of us. And ultimately, we'll start sharing those packages and those courses on there in the future. But yeah, it'd be great to get some traction, get some people, like-minded people behind us, and really see those success stories. And hopefully we'll have people in our club, Laura, who can help us with some of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is really how it grows. And you know, that was, you know, when I said I started my side hustle, that was a Facebook group, you know, sharing HR tips and advice for small businesses. And you know, to see that grow as it did, you know, was incredible, because you do then get people saying, you know, they're linking together, you know, they might be competitors, but actually, you know, it's you know, another shoulder to, you know, to share ideas with, and you know, to help when times are tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, really excited to be on this new venture. I think it's going to be really, really good. Get some members involved, and we look forward to the future with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to give us a follow, have a look on the Facebook page. And ultimately, we're looking for people who want to join the club, like-minded individuals wanting to find that flexibility and freedom that we've just talked about today, that we found ourselves, fortunately.
So yeah, I think that brings us to a natural conclusion for this episode, and we will be talking about lots of other interesting topics in the future.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed it, and please give us a listen.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We rely heavily on word of mouth, so if you found value in this episode, please hit subscribe and share it with family and friends. If you'd like to find out a bit more about us, you can find us on our Facebook group, Parentrepreneurs Club, or alternatively on Instagram, Parentrepreneurs_Club. We hope you have a great week, and we look forward to talking to you next time.